we will go ahead and race over to the phone now. Joining me now is the founder and president of a company that I've been looking to get on the show for quite some time now. So we'll race over the hotline, pull up. Founder and owner of Thermaworks, Randy Owen, joining us here on the show. Randy, how are you tonight, buddy?
Great, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding, Randy. I apologize for last week. Glad we could hook up and finally do this thing. So, as we before we get into the particular issue that we wanted to talk about tonight, that being obviously the Thermapen, how about a little info on Randy Owen, how you got into this whole thermometry, and when you decided to put Thermaworks in business?
Oh, boy. I've been in thermometry since college. I worked for a few other companies that were in higher precision thermometers of the sort used by national labs. So my background really is thermometers that are accurate to 4 or 5 places past the decimal point. Some 14 years ago, I hooked up with a company in England called Electronic Temperature Instruments Limited, and they were making handheld thermocouple thermometers, and had just at that time come out with the first version of the Thermapen. We worked with them over the next few years to make a faster, smaller tip version of that product, which was the earlier version of the current Thermapen.
How do you make it faster, Randy? If it's like pretty fast already, how do you increase speed like that?
Well, thermocouple is already a faster sensor than what you find in most of the low-cost Chinese-made pocket thermometers. They use something called a thermistor, which is a little bead of carbon, makes a little resistor. It changes resistance with temperature. It's a small little bead coated in glass and epoxy. And a thermocouple, on the other hand, is 2 very fine-gauge bare wires of 2 different metals. They're welded into a tiny bead, which is physically much smaller than a thermistor, which contributes to a better speed. And then, of course, we put it in the smallest diameter stainless steel tube that we can, that makes a needle point that at the same time will be survivable in daily use. We can make them even faster with a finer gauge needle, but you need something that's going to stand up to daily rigors of punching in and out of a piece of meat.
So as we, I'm sorry, go ahead, Randy.
So the thermocouple is important to making a fast probe. Then there are a few other secrets in how it's mounted in the tube that will make it faster. And the thermocouple circuit, of course, is a more complicated circuit than the thermistor type, but they've been used for several decades now in professional handheld thermometry. The Thermapen's equivalent, really, to something you would find selling for $150 to $300. If you walk into your neighborhood fast food hamburger joint and go behind the counter, you'll find a handheld thermocouple meter that probably costs them about $200.
Is this something that a McDonald's or some other restaurant that needs to take temperature for code would be able to use versus whatever they're paying the higher amount for?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, nearly half of the Thermapens manufactured and sold around the world are used in professional food service locations, and to a lesser extent in food processing plants, chicken, sausage plants, and so forth.
Randy,
so the Thermapen is half the units we make are used professionally.
Randy Owen, founder and president of Thermaworks, joining us here on the show. So, Randy, as we talk about the Thermapen, why don't you give us some facts about the splash-proof, super-fast Thermapen and why we would be interested in at least looking at it to add to the arsenal?
Speed's the number one thing. It will come to within 1 degree of the final temperature in only 2 to 3 seconds. In the current splash-proof Thermapen, you can now see tenths of a degree. Those will continue to change and zero in over the next second or two, but it's faster than anything out there. That makes it easier for you to tell the current state of whatever piece of meat you're cooking. The center of the meat will be the coolest place normally, but by pushing the Thermapen in slowly, going past the center, and then drawing it back out, you can watch the temperature change real time on the Thermapen display and that'll tell you quite a bit of information about the doneness level of the meat throughout the entire piece, whether it's a rib roast, a brisket, or a New York steak on the grill.
And then, of course, this is something that isn't actually manufactured like probably 90% of the stuff in our country in China. This is not a China-made product.
No, these are made in England. They're hand manufactured. Each one is individually assembled. They are individually tested and calibrated against reference thermometers, and each Thermapen comes with a test certificate giving actual test data at two temperatures, 32 and 212.
Did you ever think that there would be kind of this overall popularity in the competition barbecue scene and perhaps just in the competition subculture itself? It seems Thermapen resonates with everybody as really being one of those products, and I do it myself when people ask me, look, I'm looking to get into barbecue, what do I need to have? We go over the cookers, we go over getting a food saver, and then inevitably I end with, you got to get a Thermapen as well. Did you expect this kind of an outpouring of support for the product and use?
No. Originally, we didn't anticipate such a large demand in home and professional barbecue circles. The original market was for food service and restaurants. But in competition barbecue circles, that's about as professional as you can get. A lot of money rides on the outcome. A lot of money is invested. And at the end of the day, the biggest factor is the finish temperature of the meat you're cooking or smoking or grilling.
Randy Owen joining us here on the show. So, Randy, when I tell people about the Thermapen and then I tell them how much it is, there's kind of that initial sticker shock. So somebody that's been around it all their life, I mean, this is what you do day in and day out. What do you tell people to help them kind of overcome that initial gasp of, oh, my gosh, $90 or $92, and settle them down and go ahead and have them purchase?
Well, it is an investment, and it is quite a bit more than the $20 imported Chinese thermometers. Typically, though, it will last longer than 3 or 4 of the imported thermometers, and the Thermapen can be repaired. If you have an accident, even if you burn and melt up the entire case, frequently we can salvage the guts of the Thermapen. We can replace probes when broken. So it is an investment that isn't necessarily lost if you have an accident. But again, speed is everything. And you wouldn't think maybe, what's the difference between 3 seconds and 20 seconds? It's a ton of difference, which is why we didn't push this into the barbecue circuit. It was adopted by people. That's why. I mean, you're probably better asking people at a barbecue competition, why do they all have Thermapens? But they'll tell you.
Randy, anything product-wise new that our subculture would want to know about, or are there other products that are already existing in your portfolio that we would also want to pay attention to and might consider?
We do have an oven probe thermometer, very low-cost one. Those are frequently used in the barbecue world. It is a low-cost imported product. We do supply very, very low-cost, inexpensive replacement probes. We also have something called an extra big and loud timer. Time is still important measurement, and the extra big and loud is extra big and extra loud. It has 4 volume settings. It is waterproof, splash-proof. Again, it's pretty affordable. There are some other thermocouple meters that we sell, and those are very, very popular in the barbecue world as well. A new one has 2 channels and an audible alarm that can be set. And you can use smokehouse probes, the same kind of probes that a professional meat smoking operation would use are available for competition barbecue people.
Randy Owen, our guest, founder, owner of Thermaworks. Randy, as a whole, as a company, I mean, what percentage of Thermapens, or what percentage does Thermapen make up of your annual gross sales? Is it a big portion? Is it smaller than what else you're dealing with?
It depends on the time of year, but over the whole year, the Thermapen's probably half our total dollar volume.
Half the total dollar volume.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's a pretty big pretty big number for you guys.
It's a significant product, yeah.
Absolutely. So a couple minutes left here, Randy. Obviously, you're not all business. You like to kick back and relax a little bit, I would imagine, given the industry you're in. Have your hands on some excellent thermometers. So what do you like to stick your thermometer in? You grill guy, your barbecue guy, your steak, pork butts? What do you like?
I am not the expert smoker I could be. I've got my first ceramic Korean-style barbecue this year. Just barely learning to use that. I've got a Weber grill we've had for a long time. I do like ribeye. We cooked a rib roast this evening for company. That was done in the house, but of course we certainly have the thermometers to tell what we're doing. So we like a medium rare, and depending on how well we let the meat come to temperature or before the cook and how slow we cook it, it depends on the company. We've got some here tonight that like it medium well, so we go ahead and cook it intentionally to have some rare and some medium well toward the end. So we use the higher heat.
Randy Owen is our guest. Randy, quick question here before I cut you loose. Somebody buys one or they're just new to it, it's just showed up at their house here over the last day or two, and they haven't actually had a chance to put it to use. How do you recommend using it and then, of course, caring for it to make sure you're getting that longevity out of it?
It does come now with a great little booklet filled with tips on how to use it, how to tell when meat is done, some good pointers on resting a meat, and some chef-recommended temperatures on the back of the booklet. The number one thing we tell people, though, is keep the Thermapen clean. It's like a knife. You would clean the knife after each cook, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
So the Thermapen should be wiped clean. You should avoid immersing it completely in water, although it is splash-proof. Wet hands should be no problem. But we just say take care of it in that regard. We also have now a silicone boot, which will give it additional temperature protection. If you happen to set it on top of the grill, the boot will protect the Thermapen body itself. So if you take care of it, they'll last for years and years and years.
And where is the website that folks could go find out a little bit more on the Thermapen and then, of course, the company itself?
Thermaworks.com is the company website where you can order Thermapen. There is also a blog site found at Thermapen.com where you can find a variety of interesting articles and photos and blog postings related to the Thermapen.
Do you guys take phone calls as well? Is there an 800 number people could call?
We do. Let me tell you that. We're staffed by real-life people. There's not a call center. So if you call tonight, there will be no one there.
Right.
But and we do have that phone number at 1-800-393-6434. That's readily visible on the website. So you can call and talk to us anytime.
He is founder and owner of Thermaworks. That's the company that makes the Thermapen. He is Randy Owen. Randy, I appreciate the insight on the product, company itself, and found it very interesting how you got into thermometry. So I appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Continued success.
Hey, thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
All right, take care. There he is, Randy Owen, the founder and president of Thermaworks. That contact information, again, in case you were wondering, Thermaworks.com is the website, and then the toll-free number if you want to order, 800-393-6434. And if you want to look at the blog for Thermaworks, that would be Thermapen, Therma, Thermapen.com. So that's your contact